Hey guys! So welcome back to my channel. This week I decided to talk about the being black, foreigner, migrant in China in general. So before starting to talk about my experience in China, first of all I want to say that my experience aren't the same as other people's experience, of course. I'm a student, I'm African, I'm a girl, and I'm in my 20s. So of course I won't have the same experience as someone who's here working in their 30s and I don't know, from Europe, right? So I just can talk about my experience, I can't talk about other people's experience. But so far I have been in China for almost 9 years. Well, some people will say not really because I was living in Macau, then I moved to Beijing. Okay, it's a different state, but there's a lot of similarities anyway. It's still in China, I think. Don't attack me, please. So it's been quite a long time I came to China. And to be honest, I got so used to it that it was very hard for me to find negative points. There is negative points, of course, like every other countries, but it was difficult for me because I just got used to the lifestyle here and I don't see as much, you know, this is bad or this is bad, like when you just came to a country and you're not used at all to the culture and how it's here, you know? Okay. So far, do I like China? Yes, I do like it very much. I do have a hate and love relationship, but I think that's normal. We do have a hate and love relationship with almost every city that we live in. There's not just, we don't just like everything, but if I would put it on a scale from 1 to 10, I would say I like China like 7.5, 8. I pretty like it very much, and when I'm not here, I'm in holidays or I go back home, I really miss it a lot. And I know when I'm leaving forever, I'm really gonna miss this place. But of course there's things that annoys me and there's things that I love. The first one that I would say that I think you could see it in every other videos on YouTube is the staring in the streets, especially if you're a minority, like they're not used to see many black people walking around the streets. But this is not just for black people, there's also, they're gonna stare at you if you look Indian, white. I mean, you're just different, you know, than the normal Chinese people they're gonna see in the streets. So many people are not used to it. I wouldn't say it's a very negative point because I got used to it and I don't really realize it anymore that often. Maybe because also when I came to China was even before the Olympics and so much changed in the past 8-10 years, you know, so much change. At first, yes, maybe 5-10 years ago they're more like, oh my gosh, she's foreigner, but now not much, even especially in the big cities, you know, like I say Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, there's just so many cultures, people from everywhere. So the Chinese people in those cities, they kind of already got used to it. But if you're going to temples and yeah, spots like famous spots like Great Wall, Forbidden City, you're still gonna find this a lot because most of the people going to those touristic attractions are Chinese from the other cities. They're not really from Beijing, you know, they're coming to visit Great Wall and Forbidden City. So of course many of them have never seen a foreigner, so you're gonna be stared. Some people are gonna come to you, want to touch you, take pictures with you, but 99.999% of the time it's nothing bad, it's not mean, you know, it's just they have never seen it and they're not used to it and they want to talk to you. And if you talk Chinese, even if a little bit, they're like, oh my gosh, you talk Chinese, and they want to be friends with you, they want to take pictures. So instead of taking it in a bad way, in a negative side, just take it in the positive way, you know, like, oh yes, talk to them, smile, take the picture, and everything should be fine. It's not like racism or nothing. It's just that people are not used to see it and you're, let's say, you're new, you know, you're like original, it's different, they have never seen it. But so far, that happens to everyone. But to be honest, in Beijing, I don't really notice this anymore. Like, yeah, 1 or 2 stares and that's it. I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm being stared, everyone's looking at me. I don't feel that. The second point, I would say that annoys me about China, especially in my university and at school, and most of my friends have encountered the same problem, is the bureaucracy. When I mean bureaucracy, is like something that you can handle in 1 day or in some hours. You may take 2 or 3 days because let's say you're gonna take care of some documents. Then you get there, they're like, I need a picture. Then you come next day with a picture. Then you get there, we need this document. And you're like, wow, what the hell haven't you told me that before when you asked me for the picture? So it's just this bureaucracy, don't know what actually happens, what is their point, but that can get you very annoyed and nervous. And especially if it's your first time coming here, you don't know how to handle things. And there's a lot of things to handle, especially if you're a student like me. If you're going to university, you gotta go to the police, if you live outside the dorm, you gotta have a residence permit. There's just so many steps to take care when you're a student. Maybe I'm gonna do a video about it. So you don't worry, you know, in the end, everything is gonna be fine. It's not a big deal, but I can understand that you're gonna be overwhelmed if it's your first time in China, you really don't know anyone and you don't know how the system works. Third thing I would say is the mashang behavior. The Chinese have this habit of everything is mashang. Like you're going to the restaurant or you're going to buy something and they're taking so long and you're like, yes, yeah, I need my food, I need this, mashang. But mashang, it means like soon, you're gonna have this, you know, soon, mashang. But mashang can take a couple of hours and even like maybe 20-30 minutes. So this is something that is very, very annoying in China. Especially the service is not the best, and if you have been in China already, you know that restaurants, coffee shop, the service can be crazy. You maybe order, I don't know, a soup and a steak, and the steak will come before the soup. Then the service can be awful sometimes. And if you don't complain, you don't call them and remember them, you know, my food, where's my stuff? They kind of keep like mashang. So you just gonna keep remember them about your stuff. Drivers, some of them are crazy and they don't want to take foreigners. Some people say because they're racist. Other people will say because they don't understand your Chinese or you don't really speak Chinese and they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to have drama, you know, oh, these foreigners, they can't speak Chinese or the Chinese accent is not the best. So they're gonna be like explaining me for 5 minutes the address, but I still don't know. And many taxi drivers, they don't know how to read Hanzi, the Chinese traditional characters. So yeah, you can come with address and everything, but if you don't know how to, he doesn't know how to read. And you don't know how to read very well too, and he can't understand your pronunciation. They just think it's too much to handle, you know, it's like it's too much fun, it's a big drama, I don't want to deal with the foreigner. So yeah, there's some issues about the taxi drivers, but the majority of them are even cool, you know. Some are like old men, they're nice, they want to talk to you, ask where you're coming from, your country. Maybe go to the positive sides about living in China. As for me, you know, for me, studying here, it's actually a very rewarding experience. You get to meet people from everywhere. I mean, yes, there's countries that I didn't even know existed before I come here. And yeah, like Kazakhstan. And one of my best friends are from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. And there's just so many people from those countries in China, from a lot of African countries, European countries. You don't just get to experience the Chinese culture, but you get to experience and get close to people from all kinds of backgrounds and all kinds of countries and nationalities and so on. So that is it's something that I think is very positive about studying in China. It's more cosmopolitan than you may think. Many people will think, oh, there's no one in China, there's just Chinese food. That is wrong. There's all the kinds of food, all the kinds of people, all the kinds of culture. It's just a crazy cosmopolitan mess, and that is one of my favorite things about China. Second is the fact that it's still accessible compared to other cosmopolitan cities, I would say. It's getting more expensive every day. You won't compare China before the Olympics and China now. And being here for so long, I kind of see the difference, and I saw where the renminbi value came from and where it is now. So it's getting more and more expensive every single day, especially to rent apartments. But taking the apartment renting price, even the apartment renting price is very expensive, but I know that cities like Australia, Melbourne and Sydney and very cosmopolitan cities are still like uber expensive, like Hong Kong and so on. So I think Beijing is still okay. It's getting expensive, it's still okay. In terms of food, like you can eat cheap Chinese food, you can eat even like, I don't know, foreigners food, Western food, French, Italian. And the price is still pretty accessible for the price that I see back home or in other countries. So I think the accessibility, partying in China is pretty cheap, especially for students. You have the Udalco area, you have bars for students and clubs, and most of them you don't even pay, and if you pay maybe what, 30 kwai, 50 kwai. This is about what, $5-10 to get inside the club. You have ladies night, open bars, there's PRs everywhere, you get your name in the list, you get for free. So party is still very accessible, especially for young people. That's why people love to stay in China. Also, the one thing I like about China is because I love to travel, and you guys know I'm a travel and fashion blogger and blogger. So I love to explore. China is a huge country. This shouldn't even be called a country, but a continent, because this is huge. And there's so many beautiful places to see, many beautiful places to visit. So this is one of the most positive things I like about China, is traveling around the country and also to neighbors Asian countries. I really love about China. So to sum up everything I say, I think China is a very good place to live and visit and study. And I hope to show you guys in my next videos, and I already have some videos on my channel to show you how it's life in China. I'm gonna show a little bit of everything, from shopping to markets to food to temples to life just here in general, so you guys can see that, you know, how is China. You can have a better perception, because I can just sit here and tell you about it, but I need to show you so you can see really how it is. I'm so nervous, Rita.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Just you talking with yourself. So
Yourself, yeah. I can just... myself.